Most of you guys are unconsciously addicted to sabotaging yourself. How many times did you say you wanted to do something and didn't go through with it? Most of you guys are, failing to recognize the fact that you are failing horribly, horrendously, and tremendously at life. And so you have to understand that, if you are deliberately choosing to sabotage yourself in the one life that you have, or if you're deliberately choosing to ruin the one experience of life that you'll ever get to experience, you have to understand how rare it is to be born into the universe. I mean, have you ever questioned your own existence? Because you have to understand that, if you're not going to question your own existence, well, you're going to just, move through life like a fucking autonomous robot and never actually realize what the fuck is actually going on in front of you. You'll always be up here, but you're not up there. You're down there, up here mentally. And so what we're trying to say is you are thinking mentally about everything that doesn't fucking matter instead of using your fucking mental space to, put yourself in the position, in the reality that you want to experience. But you guys, you want to master your reality. You want to, attain this. You want to attain that. You want to, be flashy, and you want to, put on this persona, and you want to appear as something you're not. If you can't master yourself, you're 100% not going to be able to master your reality. And so you have to truly understand that, if you want to obtain, certain things in your life to specific degrees, well, you're going to have to be, at a certain level of coherent functioning. You're going to have to be able to function. If your functionalities are all fucked up in life, well, you're definitely not going to be able to attain certain things. And so this is why you need to set goals for yourself. Most of you guys, if you have to understand that if you don't have a goal, you don't have a soul. And so if you don't have a direction in life, you're going to be floating all over the place. You have to understand that if you don't have an arrow or a trajectory where you're headed towards, you're most likely going to end up fucking nowhere. And, humans, we live on a fucking planet where people desire to get high more than to be free, to have freedom, to do what they want, when they want, how they want to do it. Most of you guys don't even allow yourself to be free. You don't allow yourself to quit the addiction. And, if you did allow yourself, you wouldn't be addicted. And so you don't allow yourself to do these things. You don't give yourself permission to step out of the boundary, the circumference that you have anointed to yourself. You don't allow yourself to do these things. And so you have to truly understand that if you want to get out, or if you want to be more than nothing in life, well, you're going to have to understand that you're going to have to step out of a boundary. And, if you're not going to take the first step, well, you're going to end up being stuck in the quicksand, and we're just going to watch you sink. And if you don't give a fuck about yourself enough to the point where you're like, fuck, I need to step out this quicksand, let's get the fuck moving, well, I can promise you, we don't give a fuck either. Most of you guys want everyone to care about you, and you want everyone to take care of your indolences. You want people to sit here and put the time and energy that you neglect to put into yourself, into you. And so when we realize how incompetent, irresponsible, and impotent you really are as an individual, why the fuck would we want to help you? The only thing we can give you is the truth. We can enlighten and tell you what the fuck you need to do, which is confront that bitch, remove all the negative habits, amplify all the positive habits, and put yourself in the right trajectory. You need goals. If you are, failing at being an organism, thus addicted, if you are failing at being a basic functional primate, thus fat, you have to understand that, if the monkey is sober and fit and you're not sober and fit, you're inferior to a fucking monkey, by universal evaluation. The monkey standards are higher than yours because the monkey is not at a point where it's so low it needs to get high and escape. And so we can truly sit here and pretend like the monkey isn't better than you through conduct, or we can reflect on how the fuck we behave as individuals and fix the fucking behavior. Because you have to understand that you are as existential pollution. You are polluting space and time as you exist. You are contaminating, ruminating, and infiltrating the space with mediocrity. And, you have to understand that if you're not, adding breath to life, if you're not giving life more life, well, you're taking life away from life. And so you might as well not even exist. Because if you're going to sit here and take away from other people, if you're going to sit here and take away from yourself, well, you might as well just take it all away. No need to take the crumbs from the cookie. Just bite the whole thing and get the fuck out of here. Because you have to understand that if we're never going to actually move towards the right direction, we're going to remain contorted, distorted, and we're going to fail. And, eventually that's going to reflect in reality if it's not already. If you took a look left and look right, that's what the fuck you should never be. And, that's a massive problem that people overlook because they're so numb. Everyone is so numb. You're not even aware to how bad this shit. Like, you guys lack existential comprehension. You guys don't comprehend shit. We tell you you're addicted, but you're not comprehending the fact that you don't have control over your own mind while passively killing yourself. You lack the comprehension to hear the message. And so what does comprehension even mean? It's the understanding the velocity of the message. You're not understanding the velocity. It's going in one ear and out the other. You're not understanding that you only live once, time is decreasing, and you're only going to experience the life that you are now experiencing. So you have to truly understand the velocity of that. If it's not corroding your brain and your spine, well, your demise is going to be sublime, because you're not even going to be aware to the fact of how fucked you are in life. And so most of you guys, you get your little, paycheck, and then you stagnate for the rest of it. You have to understand that that is slavery. So if you want to be free in every fucking category, where you're going to have to begin with the habits. And what habits are we talking about? Getting rid of everything that hinders you as an individual and amplifying everything that is going to make you rise. And you have to understand that you are literally farming your habits, or your habits are farming you. And so when we talk about possession, if you are being possessed by habits that farm your life, you are the biggest enemy to yourself. And when you are possessing habits that are amplifying your life and increasing you into the individual you need to become to attain the things you need to attain in life, well, those habits you are farming in life. And so when we truly look at the game of consciousness, most of you guys are okay with being farmed. And so when we, look at, your metaphysical arsenal, what you don't know is hurting you. And so what we try to do is tell you what you need to know. But when we tell you, now you lack the comprehension of actually hearing the message. And most of you guys abruptly interrupt yourselves with, all these cadences. But all you needed to do is take a deep breath in, let it out, pick up a fucking notebook and start writing down what the fuck you're gonna do, how you're gonna do it, and you're gonna have to process it. You have to understand that you can eat the food, aka hear the message, but you have to actually process the information. You have to let it, ingrain into your psyche. Most of you guys, you hear the message and you guys either fucking panic, submit, or do some weird shit. Just be regular. The day is gonna, it's still gonna be fucking day and night. You're still gonna sequentially sequence to your death. So we have to understand that, don't fucking, be, stupid. Just pick up a notebook and begin there. That's how I began my journey. I always talk about, ridding the negative habits, because when I first started my personal development journey, I picked up a fucking notebook and I said all these negative habits, the vape, the porn, the weed, all these things, the partying, these fake ass pussy ass friends, the video game. I had more negative habits than I had positive habits. The only fucking positive habits I had was the gym. Like, you guys get me? So you have to understand that it's called compound development. The moment you set the intention, it's already set in motion. Put your mind in motion. Stop being static. Start making moves in the direction you want to go. You have to understand that, it's going to take time and it's going to take energy. But if you have the intention and you feel the tension to pull it off, you'll pull it off. And every time you betray yourself, you're going to feel it in your soul. And, you're either going to, what it's called the law of exposure. When you get exposed, you can't go back. What you see cannot be unseen. What you hear, you can't unhear unless you're a delirious fucking primate. And so you have to understand that, it's either the path of development or the path of destruction. And if you truly love yourself, you will always choose development, because the self-destruction is unconscious self-hatred. You have to understand that it takes a certain degree of self-hate to do what you do to yourself. It takes a certain degree of self-love to wake up every day and do the best for yourself, even if the results aren't what you want, even if your external reality isn't responding to how you want. But you have to understand that that's where the fuck you find out who you are. When things aren't going your way, but life is demanding these standards from you, this is when you show who the fuck you are. And this is where you garner the power within yourself to do what you want to do in life. It's that fucking simple. Peace.